Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI, is pleased to be back at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale for a second consecutive season. With karting, autocross racing, and training, it's the place for all things in motorsports. It is also the home of the 2015 Indy Grand Prix of Louisiana, coming April 10th through 12th, 2015. And we thank you here with Prep Recruiting Insider for starting your evening with us. I'm Rick Gailey, the coach of Prep Recruiting Insider, and here with our Prep Recruiting Insider, Renee Nato. Renee, what do we have in store today?
A highly interesting and very informative TV show today. We're going to have Newman on, Nelson Stewart and his players, and we're going to talk about where they're going and where they're looking in a successful season they're having this year. And Miles Clemens, former All-American at Newman, going on to Tulane and now a successful attorney. So a great show with us today. You don't want to miss any of it. We'll be here for the next hour with you.
Absolutely, and Miles Clemens has some great stories to tell us, not only about recruiting, but how things have changed, and he's very involved with the Sugar Bowl and in the past with the BCS, and he will give us his opinion on the football playoff with the NCAA. So some great stories. Something that's interesting is both Nelson Stewart and Miles Clemens played for the same football coach.
Yep.
We will be right back to NOLA Motorsports Park. We are here in the event center where there's all kinds of room and space for your special event. This is Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI. We will be right back after this timeout. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI, here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. I'm your coach for PRI, Rick Gailey, here with our Prep Recruiting Insider, Renee Nato. And today, for our coach from the Isidore Newman School, we have Coach Nelson Stewart. Boy, how lucky are we to have you here today. We appreciate it so much. I know Nelson extraordinarily well, both as a coach and in competing with he and the Greenies. The Greenies entering their 110th year of school. What a great institution that has been in New Orleans. We're so happy to have you here today, Nelson.
Guys, thank you all so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to come on, and obviously, you know, knowing Renee and is just as good as anyone at what he does. And then watching you, thankfully, I don't have to try and coach against you. I'm very good at that, but a much easier role for me. But it's a pleasure to be here. Really do appreciate it.
Well, Nelson, you guys are 7-1 right now, and you just completed your 100th game as a head coach. 70% of those wins. Looking back on that trail, that 100-game trail, what do you think of when the path you've just gone through?
I think it's surreal. You know, I feel like I just took over in a lot of ways. You know, for me, even bringing the 3 guys I brought today, I remember them as middle schoolers. You know, it's been a quick path. I think as a coach, especially somewhere like Newman, I just put my heart and soul into it. And as one season ends, you get ready for the next one. And it's just ironic that all of a sudden I looked up. I said, I've coached 100 games, but it's very rewarding. You know, obviously, as you alluded to, Newman is just such a wonderful institution to be able to, you know, under such a great headmaster and Dale Smith, athletic director Patrick Simmerauer, and our administration. They're just so supportive. So I think it's gone by so quickly because I love it so much, and you know, hopefully they'll keep me around a little while longer.
That's it. Yes, indeed, because you've been there as a coach 16 years, 9 years as a head coach, but you played at Newman for Coach Tony Reginelli, who, as we'll talk later with Miles Clemens, he played for Coach Reginelli in the beginning of his career, and you were there at the end of it, so you spanned both generations there, and then went to Tulane as well. So you've had a lot of green in your background over the years. Tell us about Coach Reginelli especially.
I think, you know, he's the biggest role model and mentor to me in my life. I think you know, you hear, you know, anyone who's ever played for him, whether it's, you know, Miles Clemens or Peyton Manning, there's a reason he's so beloved on our campus. I think that I talk to him every week. He's you know, I think he's 80 years old now, but he's as sharp as he's ever been. he just did things the right way. He was very innovative at the time in terms of running the veer. It actually was what Curtis branched out from and brought to their school, and very big on running the football, really big disciplinarian, and also obviously real big on the defensive side of the ball. And back then there were only 2 or 3 coaches, and he brought the team to the semifinals 3 times, over 200 wins. But the thing to me, it really what resonates is that wasn't what was important to him. What was important was how we did it. He loved his players, they loved him, and I remember when he won his 200th game at Fort Jackson, we all picked him up. We didn't even know till a day before because he just never brought attention to himself. And he's a great person. He's a great role model. And again, if I can be half the coach he was, I'd be a success. And so, I get asked, what my goals are. I think we've already had the best head coach we'll ever have at Newman. Just try and measure up and keep building on, the foundation he put up.
Nelson, coaches have different backgrounds, and you had a highly successful career at Newman as a player, as a lineman. Then you go to Tulane, and you're part of that 12-0 in 1998 under Tommy Bowden. You play with the Mannings and things like this, but being an offensive lineman, it's a little different, because you kind of, as you come up, you know what the guys up front do and stuff. How has being an offensive lineman helped you as a head coach?
Well, I think that you never get ahead of yourself. I think you realize with any play, any system you put in, you have to build it from up front first. I think too many times, especially with some of the 7-on-7s and things people do, you have all these great plays, but obviously it doesn't work very well if you can't execute it. And I think just like we say, you build a big house, that's your foundation. And I think with the offensive line, having to go out, obviously to Division I level, and also at the high school level, and actually execute and see how plays develop and look from the front back. It's not all about the coverage, it's about how many guys are in the box and the techniques up front. Our spread offense is based on that. Our spread offense is based on trying to use our personnel as effectively as possible, get our guys in space, but it's something, again, I think about Norm Chow. A thing I read about him is, if he said if you ever want to be an offensive coordinator and have any success, you should start as an offensive line coach. And I was blessed. Frank Chindusa brought me in to do that. I've been able to grow, have a great support system around me. But I think that any offense, any really good offense, is built around the offensive line. So it was just a blessing to play there at those levels, and really kind of it's helped shape what we are today at Newman.
Because even in the spread attack, in our next segment, we're going to talk more about your particular style of offense. Blocking and tackling still counts, doesn't it? It's not touch football.
Well, it does, and I think that it can get away from you. I think one of the things is, we take a lot of pride in our 7-on-7s. I think the kids would know. I think we only lost 1 or 2 games this summer, but that's only part of it. And I think that you can put all your work into the 7-on-7s and do all your board work, and forget about the fundamentals. Forget about just the basics, your sleds, your shoots, your things like that. The reason we film practice, the reason we meet is for our offensive linemen. I think that again, as you alluded to, I think once you see what works, the most important thing is you can block it up front. And also you have to look at your personnel. And I think we've really tried to build our offense, not just around our skill position players, but around our guys up front, from our guards, tackles, and what have you.
You guys are 7-1 right now, have a lot of seniors in key positions. Why could this team be special?
Well, I think you just said it. We talked about Tony Reginelli earlier. He gave me two pieces of advice when I took over. Coach the quarterbacks and realize you're going to win with your seniors. I think that inevitably, this is a group, while, there's 9 of them, there's a lot of skill and there's a lot of starts under their belt. I think when you get in the playoffs and those tight games, we had a whale of a game against St. James. We didn't feel tense. I think they've been in those situations. There's a maturity about them. They practice hard. They understand the importance of details. They understand really that it can end at any moment. And I think that our goals this year are to win in the playoffs. I think sometimes go to the dome, say, no, win the first one. I think that's our goal, is to win each week, win the first one, take it game by game. And I think they're special because of how many starts they have, the work they've put in, the leadership they've shown. They battled a lot of adversity this year, whether it's injuries or, while it's only 1 loss, it's a tough loss. I think that if they do the things that they're capable of, they can have a special season, one we'll remember for a long time.
That's Coach Nelson Stewart, who will be with us right after the break, right after this next timeout with one of his terrific athletes. Thank you for being here today, Nelson. We're going to cover more about his spread attack. We are at NOLA Motorsports Park, where you have the chance to get on the track, be that a kart or a fast car, whatever. This is a place for speed. NOLA Motorsports Park, PRI. We'll be right back after this timeout. Back at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI. I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey, here with our Prep Recruiting Insider, Renee Nadeau. And we have Coach Nelson Stewart back for another segment, along with his terrific center and defensive tackle, Drew Druye. Thanks, both of you. Thank you again, Nelson, for being here for another segment. And Drew, welcome to PRI.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with you, Nelson, a little bit. We've talked before. The recruiting process, how do you handle as a head coach? You got some guys that are getting a lot of attention and everything. How do you, filter through the guys coming through and kind of keep a handle on everything?
Well, I think that, first and foremost at Newman, we always say there's a student comes first and student athlete. I think you have to first start with what they want in terms of, what their goals are, whether an Ivy League kid or what their interests are. And honestly, I think the decision comes down to them. I think that, any school that comes on our campus, if they, want to interact with the kids, want to touch base with them, I think it's our job as head coaches to not eliminate schools, but to give them opportunities. I think I've been very fortunate that due to a lot of the success we've had, both academically and obviously athletically with some of our players. We've had some, bigger schools come on campus and whatnot, but just give your honest evaluation of the kid, where his fit is, where our players can do, and give them an opportunity just to learn about the school. And I think that's really all it is just to help. We're there as, to assist the student athlete, but not direct the student athlete. It really is to me. I got asked, what's it like with some of these schools coming in, your Texas Techs, and whatnot. It's all about the kid. It's all about the athlete to us and letting them find it. But we're fortunate. We have a great college counseling office. We, by the time the kids come to us, they have a pretty good handle for what they want in terms of big school, small school location, majors, things like that. So that really does help us in the process.
Drew, you're going through the process right now. Tell us, with a 4.1 GPA, so the education thing is very, very important to you. But how is that going? What schools are you looking at right now and considering playing college football?
Yeah, obviously academics are very important to me. So I'm looking at different schools right now, looking at Hamilton up in New York, looking at Rhodes, UNC. I applied to UNC as well. And as far as Ivy Leagues go, I'm applying to Harvard, and I'm checking out some other ones as well.
That's terrific. Now, Nelson, you did not play in a spread type of attack when you were in high school with Tony Reginelli. You were there at Tulane, though, when the spread kind of got introduced to this area. And Drew, being a two-way player, playing two very important positions, especially the center position, he's got to have 100% completion percentage in order for your attack to work. Talk about how you developed into that type of offense and the importance that Drew is to your football team.
Well, I think first off, when I went to Tulane, it came in under Buddy Tevens, where we were a traditional two-back pro-style offense, and saw some good things, and obviously had our struggles. But it was amazing to me once Coach Bowden and Coach Rodriguez came in with essentially the same linemen and started spreading things out. They were able to push the chains, move the ball up the field, and it became less about physically moving the guy off the ball, more about screens, draws, quick game, getting it out, putting more of an emphasis on the athleticism of an offensive line, and that was just in a 2-year span. So actually coming out of there, it was more of how do you integrate that into some of the knowledge we already had. And I think our run game, we still have a lot of remnants of it from Tony Reginelli, but obviously there was a guy named Peyton Manning that started changing the passing game, while there was oftentimes, two-back, two wide receivers. We still use some of the same, pattern concepts today. It's just as from a spread, look. We didn't go in shotgun as much, but I think to, run a good spread offense, and again, you have to have a lot of faith that you have a center that can, whip it back there. He doesn't just grab the ball and flip it. He really guns it back there, and he's a real tough kid. A lot of, schools don't like a center and D tackle going both ways because you worry about their hands. With him, it's just a non-issue. He's just one of those guys. He never comes out the game. He never complains. He's a stand-up middle linebacker on the goal line, and he's a stud. He's a true lineman. And if they were all like him, my job would be pretty easy.
That's right. Now, I'm not going to ask you what side of the ball you prefer, Drew. Okay, so because obviously you just don't like to come out of the game. I don't even know if you know what goes on the sideline during the course of the thing. But talk about your responsibilities, because you're also known as a technician. The Newman players are certainly known that. When I coached at St. James, that's what we always saw was how much of a technician y'all were. Talk about some of your responsibilities first as a center.
Well, the center is kind of the leader of the offensive line, so at all times I have to be aware of what all my other linemen are doing, and I have to make sure they know what they're doing, make sure they're making the right calls, they know which players are blocking. and so forth. So yeah, it's a big job. And then I have to, of course, snap the ball and do my job.
You got to be able to snap and step at the same time, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Now, strength is your game. You got 128 discus. You got 325 power clean, 320 bench, 420 squat. Power is your game, about 6'2", 230. How is playing defensive tackle help you as a center and vice versa?
Oh, well, it definitely helps playing both sides of the ball because I'm aware of what the guy across from me is doing and the techniques he's using and what he's trying to do to me to beat me. So at defensive tackle, I know the lineman's going to try and get under me, use his leverage against mine. So I need to try and beat that, get lower than him, and then, get by him.
And one of the points of emphasis this year with Coach Stewart was dream big, focus small. What does that mean to you?
That just means focus on the little things. You can take the big picture for what it is, a big picture, but you have to take everything you do in small steps. You just play week by week, game by game, play by play. And if you focus on all the little things, they'll add up together into something special.
That's right. Focus on the important stuff, ignore the little stuff. Or as the unimportant stuff, I would rather say. Had an expression, if you keep chasing the rabbits, the elephants will kill you. Make sure that you deal with taking care of the elephants.
Well, Drew, when is the process going to come to an end? When are you going to decide where you're going? Is it going to be in the next month or two? Are you going to go into the spring or what?
It might go into the spring. I'm still trying to keep my options open as far as that. And with football, I think it'd be a lot of fun to play football, but I don't want to eliminate the academic possibilities.
And your major?
Pre-med.
Great. Well, we appreciate so much having Coach Nelson Stewart and Drew Drouillet here from the Newman School, 110th year. Wow, what a great institution that is. This is Prep Recruiting Insider here at NOLA Motorsports Park here in the Event Center, and this is the site of the Grand Prix of Louisiana. We'll have more information on that later on. We'll be right back after this quick break on PRI. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI. I'm your coach, Rick Gailey, along with our Prep Recruiting Insider, Renee Nadeau, and we are here at NOLA Motorsports Park here in Avondale. Go to nolamotor.com for more information about this great facility. And we have two Newman athletes with us today, two of the great Newman greenies. All the way at the end, we have Jabari Tyler, multi-sport, multifaceted athlete, and Kendall Bussey, the number 5 on your screen here on the inside. Welcome, gentlemen, to PRI.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Nice to be here.
Your guys have been on this before, so you know the drill. Kendall, I know you committed back in February to Nebraska. You got a big offer the other day from a school that you like, Tennessee, and you've had some from Notre Dame and stuff, and I know your head is spinning, and you got a lot of people helping you out, want to tell you where to go and what to do and everything else. Where are you in the process? I know Nebraska's a good school. Visits, decision, where are you right now with everything?
I mean, me and Dad, we've taken a couple of visits during the season, but I kind of leave that all to him. I'm focused on just getting better football player and just helping Newman go to state championship. We've never been, so that's kind of my main concern right now. I kind of leave all the recruiting stuff on the back burner to Dad.
Jay, your dad also played in college, and I'm sure he's very instrumental in your decision. You had an injury. You're coming back from it. You play a little wide receiver, which, that might be a good spot for you. But where are you in the recruiting process? You're looking at some schools as well. Some schools are looking at you as a wide receiver. How does that sit with you, and what schools right now are you looking at?
Well, as of right now, I hold 6 offers, 3 of them from the Ivies, 1 D1 offer from Air Force. I got some maybe on the way, some in the workings from schools like Stanford, Tulane, UTEP, schools like that. So we'll see what happens. But as of right now, focus on the season, just like Kendall said, trying to get the state championship. We haven't been there in the school's history, so trying to do that is the most important thing right now.
And Jay, what do you think your future is going to be in college as far as a position is concerned? Air Force, I would think it would be quarterback because they're a multi-option type of attack, and you're playing both quarterback and you're playing wide receiver, so you're getting a lot of use there for the Greenies. What is your future going to be in college, you think?
Well, Air Force has definitely contacted me about playing a little QB to start out, see if I can do it, which I'm sure I can, but I think that's up to their interpretation. But they're pretty much the only school right now Maybe Harvard a little bit. They might want me to play some quarterback, but mostly the schools are asking me to play wide receiver. So.
And Kendall, what are your thoughts going forward? I mean, you're a running back right now. You're also very involved in the kicking game as well as a returner. Tell us about what you think position-wise your future is going to be at the collegiate level.
I definitely think I am a running back. Of course, anywhere I go, it's going to be tough to get in the start early. So, of course, I expect to return kicks, block a lot, stuff like that. But coaches have contacted me about playing a little bit of slot, so I kind of like that. I like to catch the ball.
You got, with you, Kendall, you got over 900 yards, almost 1,000 yards, averaging about 8.7 yards a carry. You also got 41 catches. You got good hands. And you're about to break the record in single season record. You got 27 touchdowns right now, so the next one will set you apart from everybody else. What are some of the schools, and I'm sure you look at the offenses and all, but what are some of the schools that you still maybe kind of looking hard at and you may be taking a look-see at in the next few weeks?
I mean, because Coach tells me to focus on the offense, schools like Arizona State, Texas Tech, Indiana, Nebraska, of course, that run that spread offense, which I think I fit better in because I'm a space player rather than downhill, run between the tackles, hard guy. So, like I said, space offenses.
Okay. And Jay, you 111 touchdowns total. And I mean, when you think of the history of Newman, and we're going to be talking to Miles Clements a little bit later, who was an All-American at Newman, and the Mannings and things like this, you have broken some records that stood for a long, long time. What does that mean to you? And a lot of hard work is going into that, hasn't it?
Well, I mean, it's just a humbling experience, to be honest with you. It's great to hear my name in the same sentence as guys like Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Odell Beckham, Ronnie Vincent, guys like that, Miles Clements. It's a school with some rich history, and it's just an honor to be up there with those guys.
And as we mentioned, both of you have fathers who are somewhat well-known, even though you're very much different players from what they were. It's a different era, okay? I mean, you're still playing the same position that your dad did, but it's different. It's different right now. Is that been and being constantly compared to them, is that a plus or a minus, having a father that's as well-known? Jay, you first, and then Kendall.
Well, I think people, they probably blow it up more than what it is. My dad and I, we don't really talk X's and O's that much. We kind of go back and forth, mess with each other. He thinks he's still faster than me, but he's definitely not. But, all the X's and O's, that was more when we were younger, playing park ball, teaching us the little things, about football. Right now, it's just more of the mental aspects of it and coning in on our abilities to stay calm and stay focused and be good teammates.
That's right. And Kendall.
I mean, me and my dad, we joke a lot. Every day he's like, yeah, I still beat you in the 40 easy, or you'll never be as good as me. I mean, he's blunt. He's like, you're nothing on me. But I don't take that to heart. That's just how he is. And he's always trying to help me get better. I mean, he critiques every play. We'll watch film. We'll sometimes go and watch the whole game. And I'll have one good run, and he goes, no, but you did this. And I mean, I like it because it helps me. I know it helped me be a better player, not only in high school, but at the next level.
I don't know who could outrun who, but I'll guarantee you could dodge him. I think he's lost a little bit of lateral movement over the years as he's gotten more lateral, by the way.
Kendall, I don't know if people realize, you're about 195, 200 pounds, am I correct?
Right about
And you're sub 440, sub 44, about 365 bench, 515 squat. So you're power packed, and your work ethic is very, very, I've heard it's compared very similar to Odell Beckham. Describe your style and things when people don't realize how powerful you are. You're not just a fast guy.
I mean, that's a credit to the offseason. My trainer, Derek Joseph, he helped me put on a lot of weight this offseason. So I've just pretty much been working. That was kind of a big knock on me because I'm not the tallest. But I knew I had to get a little bit stronger, a little bit faster. So that's pretty much what I've been working on all the offseason.
Jay, I know you're a baseball player, excellent baseball player, and you were telling me before we went on that may be something you may going to give up. That's got to be tough. But talk a little bit about how much you've enjoyed playing baseball, and also what are you making a major in? You're a 4.0 GPA kind of guy. What are you going to major when you do make your decision about school?
Well, as far as baseball, it's my second love. Baseball and football are kind of equal in my heart. I love both of them. But in the next level, I'm probably just going to continue playing football. It's going to be hard giving it up. I had so much fun playing baseball, but you got to do what you got to do to be successful in life. And I just don't think that playing both sports while doing school at the same time, it won't be very beneficial to me. So, but as far as school goes, I really want to major in anesthesiology. So we'll see how that goes.
Wow.
Excellent. Very, very, very good. Growing up, Jay, first, did you have in the last minute a favorite team or a favorite player that you looked up to?
Well, my favorite player was always my dad. I made this joke actually earlier. Today's a wear Halloween costume to school day, whatever, and I was my dad for the first 5 years of my life on Halloween.
And Kendall, favorite player or a favorite team growing up?
Oh, my favorite player was definitely Daniel Thomason from the Chargers. I feel like we're similar back. I know he's not the tallest, but he's very powerful, very fast. So I kind of compare myself to him a lot.
That's an excellent example. Well, gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Two great representatives of the Isidore Newman Greenies. Jabari, thank you. Kendall, thank you very much. We are here at NOLA Motorsports Park. They're getting ready to go enjoy some of the world-class karting available here. This is not your daddy's go-karts here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. We are going to be right back after this timeout with Miles Clemens, Legends of the Game. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI, here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey, along with our Prep Recruiting Insider himself, the Renee Nato. And we are fortunate for our Lamarck Legends of the Game segment to have Miles Clement with us today, former Newman and former Tulane University athlete. Remember, for any of your automotive needs, go to Lamarck, the big store on Williams Boulevard in Kenner. And Miles, thank you so much for being here today. We very much appreciate it.
Rick, very happy to come. Appreciate the invitation.
Miles, you know, you had a great history at Newman and then Tulane, and since this is a recruiting show, if you can take us back a little bit. First of all, Miles was an outstanding athlete, was an All-American in football at Newman, All-State in basketball, and had a lot of interesting choices. How was the recruiting process? And it took a lot of twists and turns a little bit for you, didn't it?
It sure did. I got to say, back in those days, I'd like to say it was only 8 or 10 years ago, but actually it was back in the 70s. There was not the scholarship limits that you have now, so a lot of schools recruited a lot of different kids, and I played on some good Newman teams early on, and we did well, and my name got in play, and I got lots of letters, and then by the time I was a junior and then a senior, I had a lot of personal visits from a lot of outstanding coaches, and I was fortunate to have some opportunities to look at a lot of good programs. So paring down the choices, was a task. I was lucky that it was a time when almost every school was giving 40 scholarships a year with no limit over the total number of scholarships at any one time. Consequently, I think if your name got in play, everyone else picked up on it. And I made some trips, saw a lot of great games, great universities, and was really honored to meet some of the great names of the SEC and elsewhere that everyone knows about now, which are legendary. It was a lot of fun. I played basketball as soon as the football season ended, and so I was trying to sort out the recruiting process while I was playing basketball, and consequently, it took me a long time to make up my mind and kind of dragged out that process. In hindsight, I wished I could have made up my mind sooner, but I was respectful to all the great coaches who contacted me, and I was honored that they would consider me for their programs.
And you were fortunate at Newman to play for two legendary coaches. We've had Coach Stewart on earlier, and both you and he played football for the very same football coach.
We did.
Tony Reginelli. I think that was just the beginning of his head coaching career when you were there. And then also in basketball, Skeets Toohey.
When I was in 8th grade at Newman, Skeets and Tony were the head coach and assistant football coaches, respectively. Then when I was a freshman the next year, Tony became the head coach, and Skeets just coached basketball. both great coaches. I just was lucky to be able to work in their programs, and nothing was more fun than that. High school sports, nothing excels it in terms of just pure fun, excitement, and playing for two great coaches was just a stroke of good fortune for me.
You guys in basketball, under Skeets, you went to the top 20 tournament while you were there.
Did.
And under Coach Reginelli, y'all went into the quarterfinals. If you can share a little bit, Miles, some of the legendary coaches that knocked on your door, you finally decided to go to Tulane, but who were part of some of the decisions, and what schools did you look real hard at during that recruiting process?
I looked hard at the schools that looked hard at me. Early on, when I was a sophomore, I heard from Notre Dame. They were in their heyday, and that was exciting to hear from them. But they really didn't follow up during my senior year, so they kind of phased out of the picture. I got heavily recruited by Ole Miss. Archie Manning was setting records there at the time, and I got to meet Archie early on, and we're still good friends. Darrell Royal from the University of Texas visited Newman's campus. I've made trips to University of North Carolina, University of Colorado, and to Yale. Went to Yale kind of late in the game. That was an entirely different choice, but at the end of the day, they were a finalist in terms of what I was looking at.
And after you signed, you could still get phone calls.
I did get a couple of phone calls, and that was kind of interesting and unexpected. One day I was in class in the spring. It was about the time that I committed to Tulane. In fact, I signed my commitment on my birthday, which was March 25th. And a week or two later, one of the football coaches got me out of class and said, you got a call I want you to come take. He's going to call back in 20 minutes. And I said, who is it? He said, it's Bear Bryant. Well, I thought he was pulling my leg, but he wasn't smiling, so I figured, well, it's a joke, but I'll go along with it. So I went over to Coach Tuohy's office, and the phone rings, and I answer, and it's that gravelly southern voice that's unmistakably Bear Bryant. And that was a pretty big thrill. He was the biggest name in all of coaching at the time. Right. And one of the great legends of NCAA Division I football.
Good. We've got about a minute left, Miles, and I know you've been heavily involved with the Sugar Bowl for quite a long time, as a matter of fact. Very much involved in the formation in the early years of the BCS.
Yes.
And now things are changing once again.
They are.
With the college playoffs. Give us your ideas, your feelings about what's going on right now in the last minute.
We had the Sugar Bowl's first BCS championship coincided with when I was president of the Sugar Bowl in 2000. Great game. We had come off several iterations of, we had the Alliance, the Bowl Alliance, and the Bowl Coalition. They were not real successful. The BCS was a huge success for Division I and for the Sugar Bowl. This next phase, 14 playoff, is going to be very interesting. The Sugar Bowl has a 12-year contract, and we'll host 4 semifinal games, the first one this January 1st, and we'll be bidding on a finals. It remains to be seen how it works out in comparison to the BCS, but it's very exciting for us.
Yes, indeed. BCS did work. It's Miles Clement, a legend from Isidore Newman School and also Tulane University, very successful attorney in the area as well. This has been the Lamarck Legends of the Game, and we thank Miles Clement so much for being here today. We will be right back with more PRI after this short timeout. We're back with PRI. Thank you for starting your evening here with Prep Recruiting Insider here at NOLA Motorsports Park. I'm your coach, Rick Gailey, along with our prep recruiting insider, Renee Nadeau. And Renee, today we are reviewing the 2015 commitment list for the LSU Tigers. And first of all, we're going to start out with a cornerback from Jacksonville, Kevin Tolliver.
Kevin Tolliver, maybe one of the best cornerbacks in the country. He'll be playing in the Under Armour game and the U.S. All-American All-Star games in January. A complete cornerback, Rick, ready for college. Great reactions, closing speed, change direction very well, recovery speed. He's a 5-star out of Jacksonville, Florida, 6'2", 185.
Then next, an offensive tackle from Keller, Texas, Maea Teuhema.
5-star, 6'5", 245. His brother Sion is already on campus playing at LSU. Tremendous size, athleticism, good thump, pass blocker. He engulfs the defensive tackle.
Here's a running back we've seen in real life from Catholic of Baton Rouge, Darius Geis.
5'11", 220, 4'3", Rick, he reminds me of Cecil Collins. Just the way he plays and runs. He runs angry. He breaks tackles, great vision, and he's got that afterburner second gear.
Another running back from the Baton Rouge area at University High, Nick Brossette.
4-star guy, 6 foot, 215. He's got great vision. He's a slasher. He's got that second gear. Yards after contact, very explosive, and he can break away. He'll make you pay. He can take it to the house anywhere on the field.
And an exceptional cornerback from East St. John, Xavier Lewis.
He's been on the show before. He'll be on again. 4'5" speed, 4-star guy, a shutdown cornerback, great confidence, instinct, super athletics, playing quarterback right now for East St. John. Good hips, change of direction, and good ball skills for a quarterback.
And Jeremy Cottrell, next on the list, a safety from Mississippi Gulf Coast.
He'll add 20 pounds. He's about 6'2", 175 right now, Rick. He played at Jules Sumner, but he took the Mississippi Gulf Coast route. He's a 4-star guy. He signed with LSU 2 years ago. He's got cornerback skills, cover skills, good speed. He will be arriving in January to play in the spring. He has a knack for making those wow plays.
And then wide receiver, who's #1 on the all-name team, Jazz Ferguson from West Feliciana.
6'5", 205 with 4.5 speed. He's a 4-star, super size, as you can see, Rick. Mismatches on the DBs, good speed. He high points the ball, goes up and gets it, a great agility, yards after a catch. He's very tough. He's got Velcro hands as well.
And a fullback that they still use in Baton Rouge, by the way, David Ducre from Lakeshore.
And he's the #1 fullback in the entire country, 5'11", 236, a 4-star guy. Blocker extraordinaire, a very powerful guy. He can play in the one back and be a runner of his own. He runs a 10.800 meters. He's a winner, good hands. He will mow down the defenders. He can block, but he can also carry the ball.
And then another offensive tackle, Adrian McGee from Franklinton.
4-star guy, 6'5", 325, can play offensive tackle or guard, good punch, explosive off the line. He's a good run blocker. He finishes his blocks. He squats 420, so he's got a good base. He comes down low and really engages well. Good technique, good knee bend, and he's got good hands. As you know, that's important for O-linemen.
And a good background there with Coach Shane Smith for the Devils at Franklinton. Next, defensive end, Isaiah Washington from Edna Carr.
4'7", 6'4", 250. He's a 3-star guy. He can run. He's good at the point of attack. He'll add about 25 pounds. He can play about 275, 280. Good hands. He finds the ball quickly, very disciplined. He can play inside or outside. And if you look at Carr, with some of the guys that have had come out of there the last couple of years, Gerald Willis and Joe Young Williams, he may be as good or better than his predecessors.
And another offensive tackle as we move on, Matt Womack from Senatoba, Mississippi.
6'7", 320, Rick. Alabama really likes him a lot, and they're after him. He's got good reach, good hands, knee bend. He's a good run blocker, good punch. He moves well, and he's had some good visits on campus at LSU the last couple of weeks.
And then from Acadiana, I had a chance to see this young man earlier in the year against Rummel, Brykeithan Mouton.
6'1", 235, 4'6", 40, 3-star guy, good hands. He makes the tough catch as a tight end. He may be an H-back or a fullback. Good blocker, good athleticism. He runs good routes, has good soft hands. He's flexible, and he'll make good runs after the catch. But the thing that helps him, Rick, he's a good basketball player. He uses his body very, very well, both in catching the ball and as a blocker. That's important.
And that is very important for a tight end. I always look for basketball players to be able to play tight end because they learn how to, like you said, position themselves, to be able to exchange the ball in space. Another offensive tackle from Marble Falls, Texas, Hanner Shipley.
And he's 6'5", 283 now. He was a tight end. He's going to be a tackle. He played defensive end and tight end, good at the point of attack, good at keeping his feet driving. He can run, very athletic, and his cousins are former Texas Longhorn wide receivers Jax and Jordan Shipley. You've probably heard of him. So for LSU to go into Marble Falls and get him was a big get for the Tigers.
And here's another commitment from Texas, this time from Cedar Hill, Texas, quarterback Justin McMillan.
4.55 speed, 6'2", 185, a three-star guy, and he's a lefty. He throws left-handed, good delivery, very elusive runner. He's a dual threat, got good pocket presence, reactions, decisions making, accurate. He throws on the run, and they can't wait to get him on because they feel like he may have something a little different from either Brandon Harris or Anthony Jennings.
And then a long snapper from Buford, Georgia, Blake Ferguson, a critical position. Try to get a long snapper in early. That way you don't have to recruit one for another 4 years.
He's a two-star guy, and he may be one of the best, if not the best, deep snapper in the nation out of Buford, Georgia. And the thing is that, you know, it's unbelievable now how people spend scholarships and they recruit you, how important you're rated now as a deep snapper, as a punter, a place kicker. And holders are important, and you know that yourself. You may not recruit a holder, but you know, if you can hold very well, that certainly helps you on your resume.
I especially appreciate that because my 3 years at Tulane University, I was a special teams coordinator. And when you have a great one, you can sleep much better at night than wondering whether you can complete a snap or not, especially in the punting game.
And you know as well as anybody, Rick, that every phase of the game, offense, defense, and special teams important, and more coaches in college are going for the punter, place kicker, the deep snapper, and that is a very important part of that recruiting process. It's not just a throw-in anymore.
No, you just can't have kicking tryouts when school starts and say, hey, let's go find this one. They do not all grow on trees. Very interesting, out of this initial list of 15 players, that 4 of them are offensive tackles.
Yep, that's interesting. And you know, and also sometimes you get like Shipley, he'll go from tight end to tackle. There's always converts here, he'll move and stuff like that, but you'll move some of these guys around to other positions as they get to college.
That's right, we're looking at size, athleticism, versatility, and this early commitment class has that. We will be right back after this timeout. NOLA Motorsports Park here in Avondale, Louisiana. This is your PRI. The inaugural Indy Grand Prix of Louisiana will take place April 10th through 12th, 2015 at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. A 3-day racing festival showcasing the culture, music, and food of Louisiana. The Indy Grand Prix of Louisiana is part of the 2015 Verizon IndyCar Series. Event tickets go on sale November the 10th, starting at 10 a.m. You get tickets online at gpofnola.com. Promotional consideration for Prep Recruiting Insider provided by Moe's Pizza, the best pizza on the West Bank. Stop by before or after the game at Moe's, 1112 Avenue H in Westwego. Check out their full menu online at moespizzanola.com and tell them you heard about it on PRI. Just don't ask for Mo because he's not there. And welcome back to NOLA Motorsports Park here in Avondale, PRI. And Renee Nadeau, our Prep Recruiting Insider, got an on-track experience last week,
Wow, it was great. I had a chance to ride with Jeremy, and he took me in a Mustang, about 130, 140 miles an hour, took those turns, didn't slow down very much at all. I thought my hair was on fire. It was great. It was absolutely great. The toughest part of it all was getting it out the window, you know, because the doors don't open, and getting a helmet on. But other than that, it was absolutely fabulous. It was a great time. The sire was over with. I'm not a Ferris wheel guy or what do you call it at the beach?
It's called a roller coaster.
Roller coaster, right. But I tell you what, this was great. This was absolutely great. I'm not crazy about those things, but this was a lot of fun.
Well, I'm crazy about the roller coaster. I'll go anywhere in the country to ride a roller coaster, but I got to get on the track here at NOLA Motorsports Park. And I guess we're going to have another supercalifragilisticexpialidocious show next week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's going to be good. Next week, we're going to have Brother Martin Crusaders coach Mark Bonise and the legend to be Steve Truding, who won the state championship under Bobby Conlon, didn't want to play at Tulane. So you don't want to miss it. Next week, the Brother Martin Crusaders. I feel like Lee Corso, you know, but anyway.
That's right. And they've got another big game this week. The Crusaders have had an outstanding season. Thank you for joining us here at NOLA Motorsports Park. This is Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI. For the cast and crew, we will see you at the game on PRI.